All right, so to the fourth round right now. Again, our last segments, our last round with these three contestants. Again, everything gets double. A great take gives you 1,600 points. A good take gives you 800. An okay take gives you 400. And a bad take, you come home empty-handed with 0 points. Transitioning now to America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, who barely escaped the Detroit Lions 20-19 on a controversial 2-point conversion. We won't get into that a ton today. But Dallas winning against Detroit, again, beating a good team at this point in the season. Huge for them. They go to 8-0 at home, and due to help from the Philadelphia Eagles, who we'll discuss in the final round with the top 2 point getters, they are now in position with a win over the measly 4-win Commanders to clinch the number 2 seed and essentially guarantee that they will not play a road game until, worst case scenario, the NFC title game. So I will start with you, Devin. Does the Cowboys potentially getting the 2 seed make any sort of major difference in their ability to win the NFC?
Nah, not really, in my opinion. I feel like the Cowboys are almost in the same predicament of how we just talked about Lamar. Once you just have to win these games. You know what I mean? We the Cowboys is dealing with a lot of injuries. You know what I mean? Far as Diggs was a big major part of their defense, and then Gilmore's in and out. He's trying his best to hold on as best as he can. It looks like teams are starting to pick on the top interception getter, the pick six go getter guy, Bland. They starting to pick on him a lot now. So the Cowboys going to have to find a way to, number one, have Parsons going to have to lead that pack. He's going to have to find a way to lead that pack. I think that team will go as far as Michael Parsons. It's no longer rest on Dak Prescott no more. We just seen that Dak Prescott is be able to put himself into MVP conversations. He put himself into winning situations. We can see that Dak can put the throws. He didn't hit the throws 2 times in 2 games coming down the end of the stretch to have the Cowboys let up in a good position. It just when they switch the ball over to that defense, it's like, where's Parsons? And I'm starting to think in my eyes, Mike Guido can probably elaborate more. I think Parsons is going to have to be what you have in Pittsburgh, Bryce, TJ Watt. He's going to have to take over a game somehow, some way, whether it's going to you forcing a turnover, you causing havoc, putting quarterback pressure, or him getting sacks. I think now it doesn't just rely on that. I think it really relies on Michael Parsons. And if Parsons doesn't show up and that defense doesn't really show up, the Cowboys can get an early.
7.
I can see the Cowboys getting an early exit this year. So I don't think it's about the seeding for them. I just think about it's going to have to be what Michael Parsons and that defense can do.
Yeah, no question about it. And obviously Micah has at least he's built somewhat of a mini reputation through the first 3 years of getting off to hot starts and then kind of tailing off at the end of seasons. I don't know if that's wear and tear, if it's injuries, fatigue. I'm not sure what's factoring in those decisions, but it simply does not happen with some of the best pass rushers. You mentioned TJ Watt, Myles Garrett is a good example. The other guys we can mention in conversations like that. That's a major concern. Obviously, listen, the defense, I thought by and large played pretty darn well given how good Detroit's offense is, especially indoors on turf. That's where they specialize. And Detroit's defense was good. I'm going to give you a good take, Devin, to get you to 2,000 points here and put yourself in position maybe to make the final round once again, to maybe be Mr. Runner-Up. We'll see if you yourself can get rid of that narrative for yourself, similar to how Michigan is trying to in the college football. But a good take there by Devin. Moving on to Tim. Do you think the Cowboys, Tim, if they win against Washington, get the 2 seed, do you think that'll heavily impact their opportunity to win the NFC?
I absolutely think it does. I think that with all 5 of their losses coming on the road, coming to the aforementioned Arizona Cardinals, as we talked about on the off air, especially since they beat Philly, they lost in San Francisco, got killed by them. They got killed by the Bills in Buffalo, and then lost a tight one to the Dolphins, but offensively did enough. The only thing that I want to push back on with Devin is talking about the defense, right? Talking about the Cowboys defense, are they falling off? Are they not as good? Well, they're 8th in total defense, 5th in passing defense, and 5th in scoring defense. So if they're falling off, I mean, they're still playing at an elite level. Micah Parsons might not be getting the stats, but he's definitely impacting the game. And whether you want to say that they should have lost to Detroit with that whole 2-point debacle, I mean, that's neither here nor there. I think at the end of the day, if Dallas is able to stay home up until the NFC Championship game. I think right now, with the way they're playing and how comfortable they feel in their home stadium, it's almost like the Dolphins in Miami. The Dolphins need to be in Miami in order to go far in the playoffs. So I think the Dallas Cowboys are the exact same way. They need to be home. And with the defense, as long as they're playing hot, Stephon Gilmore has filled in for Trayvon Diggs, I think, pretty well this season. So at the end of the day, I mean, I'm not worried about their defense. I know Trayvon Diggs was a big part of it, but defensively, they're lockstep. They haven't missed a beat since he's been gone.
Yeah, and he's obviously, Trayvon has been a great player for them, and Deron Bland has stepped into that number 2 role better. And Devin sort of alludes to the fact that they've kind of went at Bland. He could be a little bit of a gambler to a certain degree in terms of jumping routes from time to time. And again, I think that's, Dallas's defense, again, like I said, against Detroit, and that's something too. Dallas's defense and their offense as well, but especially their defense is kind of like Detroit's offense, where because they're young, quick, and fast, they play much better on turf than, say, on grass in San Francisco or on grass at Philadelphia or other destinations like that. So I thought it was all around great take. Tim, you are officially in the lead right now, my man. Shoot 2,400 points, going to give you a great take to put you in a pretty good position to make the final round. To Mike Guido, a Cowboys fan in the building, does the Cowboys getting the 2 seed heavily impact their opportunity to win the NFC?
Absolutely. I think it does. Now, here's the thing. I've held San Francisco in a ridiculously high regard all season long, and I'm not sure that anybody in the NFC can beat them. But if the question is phrased, does it heighten their chances? It absolutely does, because of what Tim just pointed out, right? This is a different football team at home. The Dallas Cowboys are one of the best teams in the NFL at home and a very average to below average football team on the road. I'm not sure they win a playoff game if they don't win the division. Like that's how lowly confident I am in where the Dallas Cowboys are. Now, here's the thing. I think that what Devin said is valid to a point where you just say, well, listen, Micah Parsons is not racking up any sacks or anything like he's not, he's not becoming TJ Watt. But what Tim said is exactly right. The fact that this Dallas defense, even when Micah Parsons is double teamed and, might I say, held on every play, I mean, they're still finding ways to get after the quarterback. DeMarcus Lawrence looks like he's 25 again. Dorrance Armstrong has been fantastic. The thing that I worry about most about this Dallas defense is if they can consistently defend the run, right? Like that's really their thing. Jonathan Hankins being injured on the interior defensive line has really hurt, because what you're seeing right now out of their big guys in the middle, Osa Odigizua is not really a run stopper. He's a pass rusher, right? He's an interior pass rusher. That's what he does. Guys like Neville Gallimore, Mozzie Smith, guys like that, they're not among those guys that can be elite run-stopping big interior linemen yet. So I'm to the point now where, listen, if they can get multiple playoff games, just like Tim said, they can get multiple playoff games in Dallas, you're allowed, and they can get out to an early lead, right? Because that's another factor. Then I think it changes the entire ball game. And then, listen, when the NFC Championship game rolls around, most likely in San Francisco, then yes, listen. And even if San Francisco
10
drops,
seconds left, Mike.
then who has home field? It's Dallas. So I think it makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, and you could obviously listen. We'll get into Philadelphia in this last segment. Obviously, I simply don't think they can beat San Francisco as bad as that defense is. But in the event that they were to beat Tampa Bay and then beat San Francisco, all of a sudden you have Dallas at home against Philadelphia, and we saw the last time they faced in Big D, it was Dallas from start to finish. Literally, there was a wire-to-wire win. So I think he made some great points all the way around the board. So Mike Guido, my friend, you are moving on to the final round. If I could pull up the point total here, 3,000 points. So in the final round, I'm sorry, my man Devin. You may have gotten the number 1 seed, but you are not advancing to the final round. Mike Guido and Tim Barnard are advancing to the final round of the 8 o'clock spot. I'm sorry to say, Devin, your reaction. You're muted. Your mic's muted.
I'm just getting back into the seat. I'm just getting warmed up. So that's cool. I'll be back again.
You know who you are? You're Mr. in the hole at this point. You're finishing third. You've gone from Mr. runner-up to like the bronze medal now. At this
don't
point.
do that to the poor man. That's me.
That's cool. Now I got to make a sign to call me Mr. Bronze.